welcome, to Journey to a Million. We're back here. Myself, Drew Skyberg. You might be wondering, where's Zack Rausch? Where's Jared Valleskey? This is weird. This is Melon. First time being live for Journey to a Million on YouTube. And guess what? Here's one of them, Jared Valleskey. How you doing, Jared?
Doing good.
This is cool. We got Jared aboard here. And you might be wondering, I got one more we're looking for number 3. We're looking for Zack Rausch. And where is he? There he is, Zack Rausch of Journey to a Million. How are you doing? This is Wednesday night. We can say also Friday morning if you're listening to the recording. So, Zach, how you doing?
Kind of offended that you added Jared in first, but besides that, I'm doing well.
Okay, well, I had to add in Jared first. When we were, full disclosure, when we were testing this out for Journey to a Million, Jared was the first one to join. So, figured I would, give him the benefit of the doubt, have him in on here. But look, we are live here for Journey to a Million the first time. Ran this on, was that Monday night for Drew's baseball crew. It went very well, very pleased with it. Had to bring these guys aboard too for an episode. Look, doing, Drew's baseball crew on it. Made it, we loved it. And look, we even have the Journey to a Million logo up in the corner now. And you'll have that for Drew's Sports Crew episodes as well. So, we got to go through some announcements, though. Yeah, Jared points it. Thank you. Love that. And let's go to some announcements here, on the podcast before we start. I have a great announcement I really want to share with everyone here. And pertaining with Journey to a Million, right? Big news is, if you guys have ever heard of Medium, Medium is it's a platform kind of like Twitter. I describe it as a longer version for Twitter. So what happens is, you can post articles and stuff. So my thought was, I was like, all right, well, we talk all this stuff. We have writers here on our team with Drew Sports Crew. And I was like, talk to Jared a little bit. And you are talking now with the senior fantasy football writer for Drew's Sports Crew for Journey to a Million, Jared Valleskey. Jared, congratulations. Let's hear about it. What are your plans coming aboard these upcoming weeks?
Thanks for that title. That's a big one. So my plan is we're going to wait, get closer to the fantasy season here. We're going to start putting out some articles about fantasy football. Obviously, it's going to be players to avoid, players to look for as you go into your draft. It's going to be really helpful. I'm going to put out some stats, some ADP, where they're falling, where you should take them. Just some articles. Be looking out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think you guys will get some enjoyment and some knowledge out of it.
I'm excited for that. Looks like Zach's having some internet issues. He'll join back here, and I'm looking forward to it, Jared. I'll be writing with you as well. We'll be talking. We'll be writing here. I definitely have some baseball stuff, of course, with Drew's Sports Crew and all that good stuff. I'll of course contribute there with Journey to a Million as well. But look, it's going to be a great opportunity here for yourself and for the squad. And look, I got someone back. He is here. Is he coming? Where is he?
He's somewhere.
I don't know. There he is. Yeah. Welcome back. Okay. Other news here. Next Friday, we have a live show already. Time flies, guys. Look, August 12th is the date, 7:00 at Petskill Brewing Company. We have our third live show for Journey to a Million. Final one here of the summer, and looking forward to that as well. We will be doing our full fantasy football preview. We'll be doing a Packers season preview, and we'll also be answering all of your questions. It would be perfect too. Jared can get some, hopefully we'll have our article stuff, talking about that there as well. And then also, right, social medias. You're listening here on YouTube if you're watching, listening live, but if you aren't, if you're listening right now, check it out. And from there, guys, let's go in. Let's get to our football news here. Let's go talk about, first big news here. The Miami Dolphins is the story, right? This came out earlier this week. And going through it, we'll kind of talk about it, right? tampering was the big incident here, Jared. This is something we've seen, right? I mean, even let's go to different sports here. The Milwaukee Bucks, actually, right? They had to forfeit a draft pick, second round pick in this past year's draft, 2022 draft. I mean, this stuff happens. And going through it, it was with guys. I mean, Tom Brady and Sean Payton were the two. And this kind of came out of nowhere, right? I mean, like, we really didn't hear much until, boom, the punishment came. What were your thoughts right away, Jared, for it, if you want to read through them?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, well, that came out of nowhere. I mean, lost a 2023 first round pick. Their owner gets fined $1.5 million for it. Dating back to 2019 with Tom Brady, like you said, and then with Sean Payton, 3 occasions up until 2022. But I think the Dolphins did catch a break here because the league ultimately said that they did not intentionally lose games in the 2019 season, which could have kind of doubled their punishment there, if not even worse than that. So I think they caught a break there. But yeah, they got him for the tampering, and they'll lose a few picks, maybe just that one pick and a little money for it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the picks. They forfeited the first round selection in the 2023 draft and a third round in 2024. Welcome back again, Zach. Also, Dolphins owner Stephen Ross was suspended through October 17th, and Zach had a nice social media comment going with Stephen Ross, right, Zach, with his contact. So we can go. You there, Zach? I guess not. So, anyways, he did have a nice social media thread going and some good stuff. And yeah, I mean, if you see our Drew Sports Crew going on Instagram or Twitter, make sure to reply to our comments. We like to have good discussions there on social media posts as well. But I mean, the story right with Ross. I mean, he's also fined $1.5 million. That's kind of a big deal there, of course. And then also Bruce Beal, Dolphins vice chairman and limited partner, may not attend any league meeting for the remainder of the 2022 season and is fined $500K. So, and the big deal, right? I mean, you might be thinking, what's happening to Tom Brady or Sean Payton? Nothing. I mean, where they won't be sanctioned by the league. So put that into conversation as well. I guess looking like Jared mentioned, I mean, the big deal is they ended up not losing out here in terms of the not intentionally losing games. I guess the impact there could have been huge. Jared, Zach, I mean, what do you guys think, though, overall, this impact for the Dolphins?
I mean, I think that Tua just needs to take a next step. I think I've been trying to say that he's gonna.
You've been bullish on Tua.
I think he needs to. They don't have that first round pick next year. Looking kind of scarce here going to next year. I don't know if they have too big of a future. At least next year they won't have a pick, so that's huge. So I think that if Tua can take that next step, they'll kind of be fine, but it's still going to affect them, obviously.
Yeah, Zach, what do you think here if you're available?
Can you hear me?
Good comment. We can hear you. There he is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think capital-wise, that's probably.
And okay, Zach. Thank you. Unfortunately, Zack Rausch, internet issues. Those two tend to go together. So let's talk here, about another news big thing, right? I mean, we want to talk about Deshaun Watson, kind of the impact here. Like, what's next is the big question, is what many people are wondering. So full disclosure, we're going to be talking about the NFL side of this. We know it's an unfortunate situation here, Journey Million Drew Sports Crew, but we're going to do our best to stick to the NFL situation on it. And yeah, with that disclosure being said, talking about it, look, the NFL, they will appeal the 6-game suspension, which is the big story because, right, I mean, how it works is Roger Goodell, then it goes to him, and he will appoint basically a new judge to hold the hearing. The former or the judge who made the decision before was Judge Sue L. Robinson, and how that works then is it went through that judge, and then they had the 6-game suspension, and now they are seeking the big news. I'll share it. the indefinite suspension that would last a minimum of 1 year. Jared, do you think this is going to be something that we're going to see? Do you think it's going to go to this? I certainly think we're going to see a heftier number here, heftier fine, I guess, to add that as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I saw it. They're pushing for 1 year. The NFL is. I think that's what it's going to be. At least I think it's going to be 10 games. I think that the 6 won't stand. Not even a chance it stands. I hate to compare it to other suspensions, but we saw Calvin Ridley earlier this year get suspended for a year for betting. There's been suspensions for PEDs, for just some substances not allowed, and that have been about the same as this, if not worse. So I think that he'll probably end up getting a year. And keeping it football, I think it's a big loss for the Browns. I mean, going without their quarterback, they just got 5 years for 250, I think it was 250 million. I think that missing out on him for a year, having to go with the backup with it's not Brissett, is it?
You bet.
Okay.
Colts legend Jacoby Brissett first in line.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a rough few. I guess the whole year. I don't know how he's gonna fare if he gets suspended for the year. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah, and this is where it gets interesting because reports came out 6-game suspension only. The amount of people drafting Amari Cooper skyrockets. Right, I mean that number went up before his ADP was even getting pushed up. To talk about a guy like Amari Cooper. Now it looks like, unfortunately, for the situation, right, everything that's happening, we're going to see Amari Cooper get pushed down ADP wise, and it's going to be interesting. Us three, we are involved, which I'll talk about later in the episode, a Superflex startup dynasty draft later this weekend, and there might be a chance, people might have to start Jacoby Brissett. Anything can happen. So with that, I guess, the Watson situation, where basically the update basically is the appeal. There's going to be a new judge appointed basically by Commissioner Goodell. And then from there, we're going to see what happens. And it looks like we might see something. I think we're going to see for sure more than 6 games. I don't know how long. So that's kind of my stance. That's kind of what I'm seeing depicted here by the news outlets and such. And I mean, I guess with that, we're going to take a quick break for you guys listening on the listening platforms, but for live stream, no break here. But when we come back, we'll be talking about our bust candidates. All right, we're back here, and let's talk about our bust candidates. There are 6 of them. So how it works is I got 2, Jared's got 2, and Zach has 2. Hopefully we can have Zach share his 2 tonight. Unfortunately, if he cannot, based on internet connection issues, we'll get him on a post for you. I know Zach's been our marketing guy here for Journey Million. He's made some great stuff, and he'll definitely gladly share them on the social medias as he loves to do. And I guess, Jared, I want to hear the names of your 2 busts first.
Just both of them back to back.
Just throw them out.
I got running back Devin Singletary.
Okay.
I got receiver Darnell Mooney.
I do not like that.
Didn't think you would. That's the questionable one I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Not a fan of one of those like the other one. We'll get to your explanations. I'll share mine here. Amon-Ra St. Brown is my first one, and I will gladly explain into that one, of course. And then Elijah Mitchell is the other one. So that's where I went. Zach, can we hear your bus ones? What do you got? Let's turn off his video. Let's try this. Nope. Okay. Well, you'll hear Zach's on later date is when you'll hear Zach's. We're unfortunately not able to hear him here internet-wise. Not sure what's going on, but Jared, we'll roll with yours first. Let's hear the one that I like. Let's go to Devin Singletary. Hear your case, ADP-wise, of course, because full disclosure, I mean, we're basing these busts off first PPR scoring for ADP, and we're basing off of guys who we think are going too high. So guys who, are going higher than they should be, and guys who we think are going to finish lower than their ADP. Jared, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so Devin Singletary's ADP right now is 73, listed as running back 26. So we look at last year. I went to last season, and he averaged 11 carries a game, and that only went to 51.2 rushing yards a game. I looked at that and I was like, okay, if you're trying to get a solid running back, maybe a running back 2 for your team, you don't really want 11 carries. And he was the primary running back last year, and now they got James Cook there. And that's where my problem is Buffalo is pretty pass dependent with Josh Allen, and if they're not passing, Josh Allen can run on his own. So I think that having Josh Allen there, throwing to Diggs, Gabriel Davis, even Knox, and then having that scramble ability to, just being mobile and running on his own, I think that he will take a lot of carries away from Singletary, and so will James Cook. I think James Cook will become the running back 1 for the Bills after the first maybe 5-6 weeks. I think that Singletary might fall off a little, and Cook will emerge as their starter. So I don't know why the demand right now for Singletary is so high. I had him on our sleeper league, our dynasty league, and I traded him away non-reluctantly. I got rid of him right away. I didn't see him as a value, and I still don't. I don't know what the hype is all about. I think he's going way too high, and I think James Cook will take over his spot pretty soon.
So I always like to talk about James Cook, Jared. I mean, the story right with him is, he's just in a great situation, it seems, because look, Devin Singletary was one of the top running backs in routes ran. But you might be wondering, well, then why didn't that necessarily translate to reception numbers? Well, quite frankly, I don't think Devin Singletary was that great of a running back talent, with the Bills in his past few years. And rumor has it, right, I've heard something about Zach Moss might be getting more reps in there. That doesn't make sense to me either. Look, James Cook is the guy. I mean, he was a back who got receptions in college. He had 27 receptions for 284 yards there, and he actually demanded a pretty good target share there in terms of with rush attempts and whatnot, I guess touches and with that in college. And James Cook's a guy, actually, I have him right in dynasty leagues, like rookie. He's a guy who I recommend stashing. I think he'll give you an impact. Probably not this year, but in the future years, I think he's going to be a dominant guy to have. And with James Cook, I think he's going to be a guy who's going to it's going to be the first time since LaShawn McCoy. I think we're going to see a Bills running back, do some damage in fantasy and just overall in the game of football. Jared, I love the pick. Big fan of it. And usually, we like to butt heads a little. I mean, this time I'm in full agreement with you. But
well, wait until my Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, that might be where it ends. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll be able to get Zach for his picks here, but I'll go to Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? I mean, this might be like, okay, well, why do you have him on here? His ADP reflects already him being on a discount, considering the stretch was only right under half a season. But look, I don't think it's enough. He's going wide receiver 25. He is going ahead of Courtland Sutton. I mean, this blows my mind. Which, look, Courtland Sutton. Look, I hate to just say who do they have a quarterback, but look who Courtland Sutton has, and look who Amon-Ra St. Brown has. I just think that's just the key point that I bring up right away. But also look at what happened when St. Brown was doing the damage. I mean, no DeAndre Swift, no TJ Hawkinson for a good majority of it as well. And I just think with that, I think that target share he was receiving is something like we're not going to see, and look, I just think that was out of the ordinary and something that is not going to be repeatable ever, for his career, maybe even. And I know Zach actually was able to stash him or pick him up on the waiver wire in fantasy, which was something, but I still think where he's going right now is way too high. Not a fan of his spot. Like I mentioned, Courtland Sutton's a guy right away who I'd rather have over him. I'm actually bullish on his kind of breakout here. Look, Sutton has had a proven season, and he's had it with guys like Bridgewater and Locke, and I know he's only had one proven season, but look, Amon-Ra St. Brown's had proven half a season. I can't even say that's proven. I'm still baffled by where he's going. I get people are thinking, right, a breakout here this year, but I'm not buying it in redrafts. Maybe Dynasty, I guess, might be a different one. But Jared, what do you think about St. Brown? Are you with me on this one?
Yeah, I got my Lions waiver right here from when we were at Ford Field. I do like that pick. I think that 25 is very high for someone that hasn't done anything except half a season, like you said, emerged as Detroit's number one under Jared Goff. That is going forward. I'm happy you used that quarterback thing because I'm talking about Mooney next, and that's Justin Fields. That might help my case a little bit.
No. That one's that.
That was just a throw out, I know, but yeah, Monrad, he's good. He's been emerging, but it's way too early in his career to say he's 25th. I think there's a lot better out there, and as of now, yeah, I would rather have Cortland Sutton, not just because he has Wilson thrown to him, just because he's more proven and he's had consistency under him. So it's hard to put someone that high when it's only been half a season that they've been good. So yeah, I like that pick. I can get behind it.
So let me ask you a question here: Amon-Ra St. Brown or Allen Robinson?
I think that's a tough one because Robinson's. Are we talking redraft or are we talking?
We're talking redraft. We're talking strictly redraft here. Look, I mean, DJ Chark also came in. I didn't even get to mention that yet.
I would probably go Allen Robinson.
Okay.
Not by too much though. I'd say
No, and I didn't expect it to be too much. I mean, these guys are going pretty close. Like I've mentioned here on the podcast, we use Fantasy Pros ADP. Love it. Recommend it. Go check it out. So going with that, Adam Thielen or Amon-Ra St. Brown? That's the other one I want to throw at you before you kind of throw.
That's tough because he was hurt last year.
Doesn't
started
matter.
off amazing. He started off amazing and then he got hurt. I would say Adam Thielen.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm like with DeAndre Swift coming. I just think the reception upside too for him. Like, I mean, it's going to be insane. I just think there's a lot of mouths to feed, I guess, in that offense. Even though it might not necessarily seem like that right away, but I know, right, Goff, and there's a connection really established there, but who knows if Jared Goff is going to be there after this year. Who knows? But enough about that. Jared, let's hear your case for Darnell Mooney. I actually have him as like a sleeper, if anything, but let's hear it.
So we started off, I already said Justin Fields. I've been down on him all year. If anyone listened to when you guys mentioned Cole Kmet top 8, I bashed Justin Fields. I've been on the Bears the whole season. But okay, so my case for Darnell Mooney is, first of all, not that it matters too much, but he is probably the worst wide receiver number 1 in the league. And you can probably agree with that. He would be a wide receiver 3, if not barely a 2 on most good teams. And I think that's just, true.
Talent wise, I
targets, talent, consistency. I think that he's not anywhere near. He had 1,000 yards last year. What do you have? Like 6 touchdowns, I think. Was like 5 or 6.
Good stats for your guy here.
Yeah, I looked up. I've seen a lot of people say that the Browns have the worst receiving core, and if he's their number 1, not a solid number 1. I'll say that.
You could say they have the worst receiving core, but I think Mooney has himself. I don't know if he's necessarily the worst number 1. I actually.
Well, I got a few more things that tie into him being kind of hurting his value a little bit. So some people say when, say Lazard left the Packers last year and Adams was by himself, does that help or hurt his value? It could be. It could be both, because I think that with Allen Robinson leaving the Bears, I think that Mooney's going to take up the number 1 target slot, and their best defender, whoever they're playing, will be on him. So they're going to be covered pretty full, maybe even double covered because they don't have many weapons. I think that, like I said, the defender is going to cover him. He's going around people such as Chris Godwin, but he was hurt. He's hurt out for the first few games or whatever. Marquis Brown, Brandon Cooks, Amon-Ra St. Brown, like you said, his ADP is 62, and he's listed as wide receiver 22. And for 22, I think it might be a little high. He had a good season last year, but I think that just looking at this Bears team, predicting that they only win 3 to 4 games or whatever I said, I think that, it's hard for me to put him anywhere up there just because I would never draft him. I wouldn't even look for him because I just don't like the team. I don't like the system he's in. I I said the quarterback I don't like. I mean, there's a lot of
What if,
question marks on the Bears, and that's
look,
why I kind
Jared,
of say he's a bust.
hate to interrupt, but I want to throw in a comp here. So I think Darnell Mooney and Deontay Johnson are if similar, if not the same. So a quarterback who not many people, are a fan. I know right now Justin Fields is going to be younger compared to Trubisky, whatever. But look, the only way that they are going to be productive in fantasy, I will admit this, is if they are commanding a target share that it has to be like last year. So like for Mooney, for example, 140 targets last year. That was ranked 11th, and also with a target share, he needs to command a really high one there as well. 26.7, also 11th. I think if he puts up those numbers again, and especially I think it'll be bigger. I'm also a fan here of David Montgomery in that offense because these offenses that are let's say, I mean, they're very below average, if not, some of the worst offenses in the league. I think in order to have success fantasy wise, you need to have guys who are just gonna get the ball a lot. And I think that's gonna be David Montgomery and Darnell Mooney in 2022 to 2023, and I think that's gonna be where their value comes, Jared. But I do understand your concerns because, I mean, Fields has to throw him the ball, and I know in prior episodes you are really concerned with Fields throwing the ball, as you've mentioned.
I just think that, like you said, Montgomery getting the ball, I think it's going to be a first down run for 4 yards, second run for 3, get a 3rd and 3, and they'll throw a pass to Mooney. He'll be their target, but it depends if he converts the first, and then it's a 3 and out, or they'll throw it to Cole Kmet, and he'll end up getting the first, but then they go back to the run game, And Fields is mobile by himself too; he can run too, so it's a lot. I know there's not many targets there, but I just think that Fields has to show me that he's good enough to convert those 3rd downs before I can even consider drafting Mooney or starting him on my team. I just don't see the value in him right now. I could be way wrong, or you could be wrong. We don't really know how it's going to go, but that's
I'll
just
admit I'm high. I am very high on maybe too many Bears players because again it's not so good offense. I like Cole Kmet. I like Darnell Mooney. I like David Montgomery. Those are 3 guys right there on the offense. I understand that, but I have a feeling, at least this is how I'm looking at it. If I take a home run shot on, really on Kmet, maybe Mooney, if it depends on where he falls, and Montgomery, for example, I think they have upside, Jared, that'll take me, into that league winning territory. I think if one of those guys hits, which I mean,
if you're willing to take that risk, if you're willing to take that risk, go ahead. I just don't like taking risks, especially with my dynasty team right now. I would say, I know we're not talking dynasty, but it's hard because I'm looking for players that are young. I mean, he's young, but proven talent that you can win leagues, like you said, get you that win. But Mooney isn't proven to me yet, and maybe it's just me hating on the Bears. I'm not even a Packer fan. I know.
I think it is. I think it's because they stole your guy from the Colts.
Is that it?
I really do. That's how it's been all off season. I'm gonna go to my guy here, which maybe not my guy. I mean, considering I'm calling this guy a bust. Elijah Mitchell is that guy, and might not be a little influenced based on some reports and whatnot we've heard in the last few days, but really Tyron Davis Price. I mean, the story with him and Jeff Wilson, of those guys, it sounds like they're gonna emerge as guys being more used in 3rd down situations and whatnot. My concern comes with, I know I mentioned a stat about how the 49ers produce over 2,000 yards of rushing, basically around there, every year for running backs and stuff. But I think this year will be a little different. Trey Lance is kind of the story. Zach's guy. I know Zach, wherever he is, but Trey Lance, I think he's going to run the ball a lot. And who's to say that a rushing quarterback cannot produce a solid running back with them? I understand it's happened before. So I'm not necessarily concerned just on that aspect, but that certainly doesn't help. And I just think the 49ers, they do. I mean, running backs, they don't keep their jobs long in San Francisco is something we've seen over these past few years. And also just, with himself overall, he had 19 receptions, which was 1.7 per game last year. So I don't like that either. When you're not, especially in PPR, we're looking for receptions.
Do you have his ADP?
ADP, you want it?
Yeah.
Yep, I'll get you it. because this also played into, of course, my argument. Sorry, to pull up Mooney's ADP. Jared, he's going as RB22 right now. He is
22.
going. He is going ahead of Breece Hall. He's going ahead of other guys.
Singletary
Damian
with
Harris. I know Damian Harris, right? I mean, but other guys. I know Miles Sanders. I understand the situation, but really, Miles Sanders and him are like they're 4 or 5 spots apart. I just think that's something there. But otherwise, I still think where he's going right now is too high. I understand. He's still in a rushing offense. I just think for me, it's what's too much is Breece Hall. I take Hall over him. I think. If Dobbins right now, Dobbins is going right behind it. But if we knew Dobbins was going to be, got to be healthy, I think if that was to stay, I'd have a problem with that. And I also have the other problem was he's going right with DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is going to, I know we're comparing wide receiver running back, but DJ Moore, I am really excited for in 2022 to 2023. But the answer is the ADP number, but reception wise, I don't think you're going to get much out of him in a PPR thing. I'm not a fan of that. He was number 56 in receptions. I know he only played 11 games. So, otherwise, he did well last year in his time. And he's kind of like a waiver wire guy, quite frankly. I mean, you picked him up. Odds are, if you picked up him or Monra, you were almost winning that league for sure. But I don't know.
Is Debo being used as a receiver this year?
Debo will be used as a receiver and running back. So that's another point, Jared. Yep. That's a great point to bring up. But the reports involving Jeff Wilson and, of course, Tyrion Davis-Price, those guys they drafted running back too. I mean, I just don't feel like they're committed to Elijah Mitchell. The 49ers haven't showed me that in the offseason, in the draft, and I don't think they will redraft-wise. I just think he's going to be a guy it's going to be a committee, and I think it's going to be more of a committee. This might sound crazy. The Miami Dolphins. I think we're going to see that more.
Because you said last episode that Chase Edmonds was your sleeper, right? Yeah. And I was thinking that you could say the same about Mitchell, but I guess it's a little more competitive, I would say, with Debo there, and they drafted a running back, and like you said, Jeff Wilson and all them. So,
and look, Mike McDaniel went and brought Chase Edmonds in. They brought this guy in, and they brought him in to lead that backfield. In my opinion, I think that's what we're going to see. But I guess sleeper wise, us four, there are our sleepers. I guess going with it, we didn't have Zach's here to share. Those would have been, or not sleepers. Sorry, busts. We're talking busts in this episode, but you'll see those on a graphic. Promise you that. Otherwise, I want to talk still about I want to talk about the draft. Jared, Zach, and I are in Saturday night. It takes place. Jared gets to have a Q set, so he actually.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say it so you don't embarrass me. I thought you said the 5th. We did a poll and it ended up being the 6th. So what I did today is I called every single one of the stores, the Quick Trips around my town, looking to find someone to work for me. Called about 8 stores and nobody could work. So looks like I will be auto drafting. I have my queue set at 52 players right now. So I think I'm set on that. But I'll see how my team looks after Saturday night, I guess.
The best part of this story is August 5th wasn't even a date on the poll. It was August 6th or August 7th. So
okay, we don't need that.
So we have to add that there for Jared. Look, it happens. Man, it happens to the best of us. But in a super flex startup dynasty, I got to talk about it. So this is the Drew Skyberg brand of fantasy football. It is something. How it works is we cut out the defenses and kickers. None of that in fantasy football. We had a super flex spot. It's PPR. Run a draft lottery for the first 4 picks, I believe, for rookies. I have it all down. And how it works then is this year right now, it's just your standard fantasy football like that. There's no trade deadline during the regular season. You cannot trade in playoffs is the other implication. But otherwise, the loser has to do the spicy wing challenge. You got to go to any place that serves wings in your area. We have some people in the league, full disclosure. It's a more local. We have some people in Minnesota. I got people in the league who love fantasy football. That was the whole goal. And it's going to be a great time. Unfortunately, again, Jared will miss out with that. But look, Superflex Startup Dynasty, it is something. It's very new. So, I mean, it's something we're going to be looking forward to covering next week. We'll talk about the draft results. Very happy, with being able to do it. I hope I get who I want. I am pick number 5, so I'm in a tough spot because to talk about it, Jared, I know you won't be at the draft, but how it works is, as you know, Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, those 3 are going to go right away. It's a matter of if Jonathan Taylor goes at 4, which impacts where I want to go at 5. So the dilemma is a real problem. There's, of course, the quarterback names. We'll have to wait. Guys like Murray and Burrow. I mean, arguably I could get one of those guys if they fall. I mean, depending on who in front of me takes. Otherwise, Jonathan Taylor falls. He's on the board, or others. So kind of in a dilemma there. What pick are you, if you know?
I think I'm 8. I'm 8. I think I queued Cooper Kupp on that area, but I do want to take a running back. Like
Cooper Kupp?
I think Kupp was 11. Yeah, he was listed as 11. So I'm queuing. So I don't know who's going to be there. I have no idea. So I'm thinking that maybe CMC I think CMC was lower than him even.
I'm okay with that. Please take.
But I did queue like 15 quarterbacks just to make sure I get a decent one, hopefully. But it's hard for me to know.
Make sure you have those up. It depends.
I queued Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson, even like Kirk Cousins. I queued just in case. I mean, I did a lot just to see if I can get.
What if none of them come to you? That's going to be tough.
Then I might end up with someone like Carson Wentz, I guess. But
do you have it where do you have the guys ranked ahead of each other, for example? Yeah. So okay, good. So
I moved them up and
based
down.
On their respective ADP, kind of. Yeah. So hopefully, okay, good. So
yeah.
Hopefully, it's not too much of a disaster. But again, I love sharing that situation because the best part, again, the date that you requested off art was not even on the poll. But remains the story.
Yeah, I got off on the 12th. That's the most important one, right?
And thank you for bringing that up here, Jared, because we got to talk about that. What else is going to be happening at the live show? Perfect transition. Thrive Fantasy. Guess what? We are giving away our second thing. It's for users who signed up 11 through 20. You will receive a Josh Hader autographed card out of $2.99. Okay, I know the laughing. All right. We'll get it out of the way. We'll do a gasp here. Why is that weird? Well, Josh Hader, of course, as we know, got traded to the San Diego Padres. So we're still giving it away. It's still a great card. You can remember his time with the Brewers with the Josh Hader card. And that giveaway again is filled. But don't worry, giveaway 21 through 30 for those users. I already got the items. I mean, there's 2 items, plural here. 2. I got to hold it up. See, have that. And look, I mean, that's going to be exciting stuff. Jared knows what they are already. Jared, maybe a little hint you can give, but not too much where people would know it.
Well, if I can remember here, you sent I might need to take a look real quick. Hold on, because I don't know if I remember.
All right. No, you're not looking. Anyways, the hint is going to be a fan favorite and a local legend is the hint.
That's right.
So,
that's right. Yeah, you're right.
2 cards there. You can send me your guesses. We'll see what you guys come up with. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. That giveaway is going to be held at a later date. Also, got to talk about the hats. That's kind of like the last thing here. We have Journey to Million hats and Drew's Sports Crew hats. Both of those you can contact on the Instagram and Twitter. Where is that, Jared? Where do I find the Instagram and Twitter? It's up above.
On the
yeah. You can look
above.
up.
Yeah, look at that.
Right above. You can point again. There you go. Find it there. Of course, then Thrive Fantasy. Then it's down below. We have that. But yeah, the hats will be up there. YouTube, then where you guys are watching or listening. Drew's Sports Crew. Yeah, if you're listening on like Spotify or whatever later, come listen right away when this comes out live. It's a great time here in the YouTube. And yeah, anything else today, Jared? Before we talk about Thrive, but I want to hear if there's anything else from you.
No, I think that Zach will have to describe his picks in a post, or maybe he could do it next week before we start talking about whatever we're talking about next week.
It's a surprise.
Yeah, we'll have to see with that because I'm excited. He said that we would disagree with some of them. So
yeah, we'll make sure you get that audio out. Apologize for the technical difficulties. We did some testing before. Unfortunately, Zach's internet just like I said, he's not known for great internet, and that just happens sometimes. Let's talk about Thrive Fantasy, Jared. So come prop up with us, right? I mean, we've talked about Thrive Fantasy. We've spread the word of it. I mean, the story of it. They got great contests going up. The big story is football is up right now, and football's been a hot topic for it. Jared, have you made your football entries yet? Because I have made mine.
Not quite. No, that was actually my next. I think I was going to start it tomorrow. I did my last strikeout line today. It's kind of mad. I had who started for the Braves? It was Zach Wheeler, and I think it was Charlie Morton. Was it them two today? They both hit their 6.5, and I needed Bassett to hit 5.5. He ended with 4, so I ended up missing that one. But I'm gonna take a few days off of baseball, I think, and I'll start doing my football ones pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. They have some great lines up right now. I mean, they have it for all the big players. They got wide receiver 1s. They even got some wide receiver 2s on there too. So I mean, you're just not betting on the big names necessarily. You're liking Gabriel Davis. You know, he's up in some lines, and got to do those contests as well. I mean, there's a lot of great things down there. I've already entered them. I'll gladly share them. If you want to reach out to myself, just reach out to me on the podcast thing. I'll get back to you. I'll share the lines. I know Jared and Zach are open to sharing them as well. You maybe don't want Zach's. I mean, Zach actually is, as much as he loves football, he sometimes, he's known for losing streaks in that, but
you can take
hopefully that'll change.
Take the opposite.
Yeah. We've actually had people take the opposites of Zach and win. So, I mean, it will happen. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of all we got here, for Jared Valleskey and myself, Drew Skyberg. So we'll be back here again, covering some football stuff. It'll probably be next Wednesday. We'll wait and see. We'll send out a date on social media when we get it. But again, thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew's Sports Crew, the Journey to $1 Million, the perfect podcast for you.